Please welcome Mr. Umar Ali Shaikh, Chief Executive Officer, Atos Solutions and Systems Private Limited, to address the gathering.
Please welcome sir on stage.
Good afternoon. Actually, I have been given a very difficult slot exactly after lunch. So I can say that out of about 100 people here, I could hear about 4 or 5 hands clapping. That's not your fault. That is the fault of the guy who made the lunch. Can I, thank you. Thank you. I would address once again as good afternoon, and let's see if we kind of shake up our comfort zone post-lunch and hear the full house saying good afternoon back to me. So, good afternoon. That's better. We will do it again. Good afternoon. Yeah, even better. I must thank you for sparing your time to have come here for this program. I'll tell you how I got associated with it. I got a message from Satya saying that he wants to meet me, and I didn't know him. And I told my office to check why he wants to meet me. And they said that he leads an organization called EduSkills, and he wants to talk about it. I was not knowing about it. I did not know what it means and what is its purpose. So I first wanted to have a quick conversation with him. So we had a quick conversation about 5 minutes or so, and then I agreed to meet him. And I met him and I realized that indeed this organization is addressing a gap that we corporate leaders or people who are in business like us are facing every day. You know, the need of providing any business solution is about having right people. We have lots of technology, we have lots of automation, we have lots of processes, but I don't think that we will ever be able to eliminate people out of all that I spoke just now. That would mean that people would remain a very important and vital part of the way we conduct business. You try and get people onboarded. There are different levels of people that you have in your organization. You get people who already know the subject matter or already know your business or already know your processes. And also you get people who you can upskill and make them ready to run your business. And as I was told today by Satya and his team, that we have to speak about a topic called transforming higher education in India, skill education and employability. You know, everything that boils down. I have also a Gen Z at my home. We all, somebody who is of my age, are already having children who are, a generation Gen Z, as we call them, born after the millennium 2000. And even in our time, when I was studying, my father always used to use a word called, you must get into a course, he used to use a phrase called job-oriented course. And we all come from middle-class families, and our parents or our grandfathers and our relatives, everybody were employed, which we call in Hindi, naukri karte the. So the mindset was always that we need to get into job-oriented course. And in my time, it was 2 most prominent career options that we had. One was medicine and one was engineering. And rest everything was below on that order. Other options were also there, but they were all below the order. And I heard Dr. Agarwal speak in the morning that when he did his engineering, there were 1,200 students or something like that, he said, and only one girl that was there in his batch as an engineering. You know, over a period of time, and it is a part of the trade cycle, that when we have something which is sought after, becomes by the way over a period of time. When we had cars, and we used to get a car with air conditioning, we used to say, oh, that car is AC car. Okay, and then we got cars, they had power steering, and we used to say, okay, that car has power steering and power windows and so on and so forth. Today we don't discuss about it. This is by the way. It's by default that we have that. We won't settle down without it. And like that, likewise, if I have to pick up, I represent a French technology, global, large IT organization, and we are into IT services. And if I have to isolate myself in IT services, say largely that we work with engineers or engineering graduates, then let me isolate myself to only engineers for now. Though the higher education and the skill and employability is across. And when I look at the engineering as a stream, if I have to isolate, and please allow me to isolate for once with all due respect to everything else, we are producing a staggering 1.5 million engineers every year. And just to come back in Indian way, 15 lakh. 15 lakh engineers that we are producing. And there are various reports that I went through, and I would, there are various conflicting reports that I went through. But what I understood is that last year, the IT industry, the IT services industry, which employs roughly about 5 million people, 50 lakh, 5 million people, recruited less than 100,000 people, 100,000 engineers. And we have 1.5 million engineers. We have about 6,000 engineering and polytechnic colleges in the country. The capacity is roughly about 2.4 million, about 24 lakhs. And we are producing 15 lakhs engineers. And our, those engineers, the amount of engineers that they are getting job is abysmally low. So what do I call this industry? This is education industry of technology. It's a commodity. It has become a commodity, isn't it? Do you not agree with me that everybody who is today in 12th standard or after 10th standard, we simply say you join one of those coaching centers, and then the steps of your selection of getting into a college starts. JEE Mains, JEE Advanced, and then you have NITs, and then you have got some of the colleges. But if you look at the number of students that these institutes intake and the number of students that pass out, you will find in the value chain that how many of these students that we are producing who are not going to get a job. And why did we do engineering? Why did my father said that, Umar, you should get into a job-oriented course? And I'm sure the thought process also remains the very same, the average Indian parents, that my son is also doing engineering. And my ask to him is that you do something so that you can get employed in a good organization. And then maybe I have changed my thought a bit over a period of time to tell him that maybe after 5 years, you may start doing something on your own. I attended one of the universities in the northern India a couple of quarters ago. I was speaking in their convocation ceremony, and I had another gentleman who came there, and he said that India needs X amount of jobs, and government will not be able to give all those jobs to everybody. So what do? The best way is to become an entrepreneur, and then you create jobs. And he made this statement which stuck on my mind. He said, choosing a career as an entrepreneur is a good career option. So, why I am giving this prelude, so to speak, here on this particular forum is when Satya met me and we discussed about what they are doing, it struck me that yes, they have actually understood the pain point that every student is going through. I am using the word called student, I am not using the word institute. Yes, institute's value is more when you have got a great corporate relationships and when you are able to try and show. I was seeing some of the teasers here when I was waiting for my turn to come, and they are talking about this particular person got this much of internship and this was the package. Okay, and how many mechanical engineers and how many electrical engineers, how many civil engineers and how many instrumentation engineers are actually working in erstwhile manufacturing companies as graduate engineer trainees. In my time, when you are an engineer, you used to get into the giants of manufacturing industries like say L&T, for example. Just one name is coming to my mind. Bajaj Auto is another company that's come to my mind. And that was, in my opinion, was a very fundamental way of grooming somebody. And manufacturing industry today in India is one of the largest. They employ one of the largest headcount, so to speak, in the country. And if you look at the amount of people that they are choosing to go to the core industry is almost not there. It is very minimalistic. Everything is getting measured by how much what do we call package? What is the package? And I happen to visit one of the institutes. I keep speaking in these forums, and I visited one of the very prominent institute, very big prominent institute. And one of the student was known to me, and he said, "Sir, would you like to come across to our hostel?" And so I went and I just walked across the hostel on the corridor, and in each door of the hostel, they had just had the placement, and on each of those doors, they had written down with pen saying that Mr. So-and-so, 7.5 lakhs, Mr. So-and-so, or whatever is the name of the boy staying in that room, as 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs. And I was wondering that what does it mean? First point. Second point is that how does it endorse a person's skill to what the person has studied? Are we trying to define it by how much CTC? And also the good part is that, after having spent almost 30 years in the corporate world, a CTC could be a very, tricky statement. What is that you have included in CTC, right? So no one is talking about that, yes, I want to create a solution, or I want to create an application, or I want to create a technology that is going to make life easy for my fellow humans or fellow citizens or fellow countrymen. Okay. When I was writing the profile for my son, I wrote telling him that please write that I am studying engineering and I want to learn technology so that I can contribute with my technical knowledge to my society and to environment. That means that we are actually studying to utilize what we are actually studying. And I have a grid. Sometimes when you come over to my place, you will see I have made a grid, a skill versus will grid. I call it skill versus will matrix. And the grid has got various parameters. It says low skill, low will. It says low skill, high will. High skill, low will. And then the last one, like that it has got that. I'm not able to recall the full one. The one was high skill and high will. Okay, and every parameter of the skill versus will matrix also talks about what this person is going to be. What do I, in my own opinion, what do I call this person? And I will try and take an example of 2 or 3 of it. I think the person who has got low skill and high will is a person called high potential. A person who has got high skill and low will is the person known as talent got wasted. I have come across many people that I have interacted with who are very talented but very low level of will. And that is something that is playing today in our system, where we are trying to measure our success by which company is employing us and how much package that I am going to get, irrespective of I did mechanical engineering or I did electrical engineering. What am I going to really use in my core sector? That's not there. Almost not there is what I would like to say. Now, the other part of my thought is that, some of the statistics says that almost 80% of these engineering graduates that they are passing out will be not employable. And one of the big reasons of they not being or remaining unemployable, so to speak, is the skill gap. And I have visited multiple engineering colleges, universities, and I have been made to go through very talented science fairs or innovation fairs and things like that. And I see that yes, there is a good amount of talent which is there and we are producing. Okay, but the point is that when you are in an institute, when you are in a educational institution, the environment is lot different than when you are actually in a practical environment of a corporate organization. Whatever industry that could be. It could be an IT industry, it could be a manufacturing company, it could be pharmaceutical, it can be anything, automobile, it can be anything. The practical environment, what you are facing immediately after you are out of your college is much different than the environment that you have gone through as a student. And it's a great initiative by EduSkills that we are trying to make them go through this practical environment before they are out of their institute. We are trying to bridge the skill gap, so to speak, the skill gap to some extent. Of course, what you learn on the job is not going to get compensated by having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of training. But this is a great initiative that we are trying to make ready these students. And last point I have is, I always say this, and I am saying this now, that our professional journey is, how many of you are marathon runners here? Anybody? 42 kilometer, 21 kilometer, 10 kilometers, 100 meters? No one? Okay, so this is my last point and I will conclude. So I always say that our professional journey, which we started about 21, 22, sometimes 23, and if we go until about 60, 62, 63, तो अब उसको 40 साल ले लें, between 38 to 40, 41 years. It's like a marathon. And when you watch a 100-meter race, you know largely who is going to be, almost the faster the person runs, he becomes the winner. In marathon, that is not what you know at the first, second, third, fifth, seventh, 10th, 12th, 20th, 25th, even 30th kilometer. So my last point here is that it is important for us to bridge the skill gap by initiatives that Satya and Shubhajit and the team is taking with participation of institutes and corporates like us. It is important, but it's also important to try and build that will gap that our students today have, or our educational the fraternity that we are creating that has, to tell them that you don't have to run the fastest if you are running marathon. You have to run with a lot of strategy, lot of thought, because LinkedIn or any other social platform can really be very, very disappointing. And designations could be very, very distracting. So with this, I think this is what I personally feel. It's a professional career is a marathon, and our students, whichever field they are specializing, they should look at it as a 30 to 50 kilometer or 30 to 40 kilometer marathon, and they will fail, they will fall down, they will stay back. Some of them would have taken them over, but they will stay on their core subject. And the skill versus will gap is the minimalistic. Then we will probably be able to try and create what exactly we are thinking about creating in this country as a talent pool. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Yeah, Ali?
Thank you, sir, for the insightful talk.
ये क्या है?
I'd now like to request Dr. Satya to felicitate Mr. Umar Ali Shaikh.
I have to be there? Yes, sir. Okay.
How are you, Satya?